Do you know what the most dangerous part of a crisis is? It's the moment you realize that shiny gold bars or the balance in your bank account can't directly filter a sip of dirty water, start a fire to keep you warm, or heal a wound. When the power goes out, the water stops running, and the neighborhood store closes its doors. Essential supplies can disappear within hours. That's when the value of everything gets turned upside down. Gold still holds its value as a store of wealth, but the ordinary, inexpensive items you've been ignoring in the back of a cabinet, things that cost just a few dollars, become the real treasures that keep your family going day after day. Most people overlook them until it's too late. So let's take a look at these 12 priceless items right now. 12. Heavy-duty sewing kit. A $200 jacket can become completely useless because a single seam under the arm comes apart on a freezing night. Imagine you've been walking for 6 straight hours in the rain when the strap on your only backpack suddenly snaps in half. Your entire food supply spills into the mud, and you can't carry any of it if both hands are busy holding the full weight of the load. Most of us never think about buying extra needles and thread, because we assume the neighborhood convenience store will always have them in stock. They're so inexpensive that people barely give them a second thought. But when that store is permanently closed, the problem isn't the value of the tear, it's that there's nowhere left to replace what you need. When a jacket can no longer keep you warm or a backpack loses its strap, you're not just losing a piece of gear, you're losing your ability to survive. In a disrupted society, a heavy-duty sewing kit becomes the ultimate repair tool. It turns what would have been an expensive piece of gear thrown away into something you can keep using for years. Don't stock those flimsy household sewing kits. What you need are large needles, curved specialty needles, and heavy-duty polyester thread. A length of unflavored dental floss tucked into your pocket also makes an excellent waterproof stitching material for repairing canvas. But the real value is this. When everyone's clothes throughout the community start falling apart, you won't just be repairing your own family's gear. The person who has the tools and the sewing skills will always have people knocking on their door. You can easily trade repair work for a few packs of batteries, a can of food, or things that money can no longer buy. Store your needles in small plastic tubes with lids so they don't puncture your backpack. A single needle has never made anyone rich, but the day nothing can be replaced anymore, it could be the only reason you're still wearing the warm jacket that keeps you alive through the winter. 11. Merino wool socks. Even the most expensive pair of boots can't save you if the socks inside are soaking wet. After hours of walking, moisture, friction, and the cold can make every step more painful than the last. At that point, you're not just losing comfort. You're gradually losing your ability to fetch water, carry food, and handle the basic tasks of everyday life. Each of our feet has about 250,000 sweat glands. When they're trapped inside shoes for hours at a time, that moisture builds up quickly. Regular cotton socks absorb sweat, but they also hold onto water and dry very slowly. Once they're wet, they cling to your skin, increase friction that causes blisters, and pull heat away from your body. Merino wool handles moisture much more effectively. It wicks moisture away from your skin, helps regulate temperature, and continues to insulate far better than cotton even when it's damp. This is especially important for older adults. Cold, damp, or blistered feet can make stiff joints feel even worse, increase discomfort, and directly reduce your ability to keep your balance while walking. In a situation where you have to rely entirely on yourself, being able to move safely is far more valuable than any expensive pair of fashionable shoes sitting in the closet. The most practical rule is to always rotate at least 2 pairs. One pair you're wearing and one pair hanging outside to dry. Every evening, check your feet, change out of damp socks, and treat any areas that are starting to turn red or become irritated. In an emergency, a clean wool sock can also serve as a first-stage coarse filter to catch leaves, sand, and large debris from cloudy water, although the water must still be properly filtered or disinfected afterward. Because socks are inexpensive and always sitting on store shelves, most people never think about buying extras. But when there's no washing machine, no dryer, and no easy way to replace them, a dry pair of socks doesn't just help you walk farther. It helps you stay on your feet, keep working, and remain independent while everyone else is forced to stop. 10. Bar soap. Many people carefully stockpile hundreds of pounds of food, yet forget the one thing they need before they ever touch a single meal. When the power goes out and running water stops, your hands still have to clean up, handle raw food, care for sick family members, and touch surfaces that are no longer cleaned on a regular basis. During a prolonged crisis, diarrhea, infections, and contaminated food can weaken a family much faster than most people expect. The need to stay clean doesn't disappear during a disaster. It simply becomes harder to achieve. Bar soap has an incredibly practical advantage. It's compact, doesn't leak, uses very little packaging, and is easy to cut into smaller pieces. You don't need to hunt for soaps labeled antibacterial. Regular soap and clean water are enough to remove grease, dirt, and many kinds of germs from your skin so they can be rinsed away. The key is to build up a good lather and thoroughly scrub the backs of your hands, between your fingers, and under your fingernails for at least 20 seconds. When water is limited, using soap requires careful planning. Instead of wasting water by pouring it directly from a bottle, pair a bar of soap with a container that has a spigot so you can control every drop you use for hand washing. The best management trick is to cut one large bar of soap into several smaller pieces with a knife. Take out only one piece that's enough for a few days, and keep the rest dry in a sealed container. That way, the entire bar isn't constantly sitting in water, becoming soft, and wearing away unnecessarily. A bar of soap can last a long time if it's kept dry and away from excessive heat. However, don't assume it lasts forever without changing. Check the packaging, the smell, and the surface before using it, especially if it contains a lot of moisturizers or natural fragrances. A bar of soap won't create more food or refill your water supply, but it helps keep the resources you've worked so hard to store from becoming the very thing that makes your family sick. When medical care is scarce, preventing a problem is always more valuable than trying to fix the consequences afterward. 9. Heavy-duty contractor trash bags. Just a few days after the power goes out and trash collection stops, those thin garbage bags sitting in the corner of the yard begin to stink and get torn open by animals. Flies show up before your food supply even starts running out. Yet because trash bags cost only a few dollars and sit at the end of a store aisle, very few people think about stocking up on heavy-duty contractor bags. In a crisis, they're much more than garbage bags. They're a waterproof material that can temporarily serve as a rain poncho, a ground cover, a window barrier, and a protective cover for your belongings. One compact roll can do the job of several separate pieces of gear that you simply can't fit into a backpack. Their greatest value lies in limiting damage. A leaking roof may not cost you your shelter on the first day, but every small drip can soak your blankets, clothing, important documents, and stored food. A trash bag can't fix a roof, but when it's secured with tape, it can temporarily cover the leak and keep a small problem from turning into a much bigger loss. Think about a real-world situation. If you're caught in a sudden rainstorm while traveling, a bag with large holes cut for your head and arms can become a temporary rain poncho, as long as your face remains completely uncovered. If you have to sleep on damp ground, laying a bag underneath your sleeping pad can help keep moisture from seeping through. The next morning, you can stuff dry leaves inside the bag to create a temporary layer of insulation. If a window is broken, stretching a bag tightly over the frame and securing it in place can significantly reduce the amount of cold air blowing into your shelter. In a crowded shelter, heavy-duty trash bags can quickly become one of the most frequently used items. Everyone needs them to manage waste, isolate dirty items, keep clothing dry, or create temporary protection. Choose contractor-grade bags that are thicker and far more puncture-resistant than standard kitchen trash bags. Never use them to store drinking water for extended periods or allow them to come into direct contact with food, since they are not made to food-safe standards. The most valuable items during a crisis aren't always the ones that solve a problem perfectly. Sometimes their true value is simply keeping your belongings dry, your shelter usable, and a small setback from becoming a loss you can no longer recover from. 8. Manual can opener. A basement may hold enough food to last for months, but all of it becomes almost useless if you can't open the cans safely. The moment your electric can opener stops working or a cheap hand crank model breaks, you could find yourself staring at hundreds of cans with no simple way to get to the food inside. Many people assume they can just use a knife to punch through a can when the time comes. But that's when a small inconvenience can quickly turn into an injury. The blade can slip, the lid can tear into razor-sharp edges, and your hands, the most important tools you have for cooking, carrying water, and making repairs, can get hurt at the exact moment medical care becomes difficult to access. A manual can opener is really the key to your entire food supply. It doesn't need electricity, takes up very little space, and will keep working as long as the cutting wheel and turning mechanism stay in good condition. A pocket-sized opener like the P38 is extremely compact and makes an excellent backup, but it requires hand strength and a bit of practice. For everyday use, a full-size metal hand crank opener is usually more comfortable and much easier to control. This is especially important for older adults or anyone with arthritis in their fingers. Choose one with large handles, a non-slip grip, and a smooth turning mechanism. Don't just buy it and toss it in a drawer. Practice opening a few different sizes of cans, so you know you can use it even when your hands are cold, wet, or you're working in low light. A practical approach is to keep one in the kitchen, one in your emergency kit, and one more as a backup. After each use, clean any food off the cutting wheel, dry it completely, and check that the gears aren't jammed or rusting. A quality opener can last for years, but only if you treat it like an important tool instead of something forgotten at the bottom of a drawer. The irony is that hundreds of cans of food may be worth a small fortune. Yet your ability to access them depends on a tool that fits in the palm of your hand. When the power is gone and everything has to be done by hand, a can opener that costs just a few dollars is what turns food sitting on a shelf into real meals. 7. Heavy-duty duct tape. The handle of your shovel suddenly cracks in half just as you're rushing to dig a drainage trench before a heavy rainstorm hits. At that moment, you don't need a brand new expensive shovel because the stores are closed and no one is bringing you a replacement. What you really need is just 5 more minutes to finish the job before the water starts flooding your home. That's when heavy-duty duct tape proves its real value. Since most of us only use a few inches each year to seal cardboard boxes or fix a child's toy, almost everyone assumes they can buy another roll anytime, anywhere. But when repair services and warranties disappear for good, your mindset has to change. Duct tape can't permanently fix everything, but it acts as a time bridge. extending the life of your gear for a few more critical hours, days, or even weeks. What sets heavy-duty duct tape apart from ordinary tape isn't just its thickness. It's its ability to bond securely to a wide variety of challenging surfaces while holding up against rain, dust, and constant movement. Think about a real survival timeline. At night, it seals a tear in your tent to keep the warmth inside. The next morning, it temporarily holds together the sole of a boot that's coming apart so you can keep walking. By afternoon, it's reinforcing a cracked shovel handle and temporarily sealing a small leak in a water pipe. The true value of duct tape isn't the roll itself. It protects what that piece of equipment is doing for you. It keeps your feet dry, prevents your water supply from being wasted, and keeps your shelter from turning cold. By building a time bridge for each piece of gear, it buys you the precious time you need to find a permanent solution. For compact storage, don't carry the entire bulky roll. Wrap a few yards of tape around an old plastic card, or around the body of a lighter instead. A roll of duct tape has never been an expensive item on a store shelf. But the day you can no longer buy replacement parts or call someone to make repairs, it'll be the one thing that keeps your entire chain of survival gear working for many more days. 6. Table salt. For centuries, salt wasn't just something that sat on the dinner table. It was a strategic commodity, taxed, controlled, and fought over because it allowed people to preserve food through seasons of scarcity. Today, salt is so inexpensive and easy to find that we've almost forgotten why previous generations valued it so highly. That's why a family can stockpile hundreds of pounds of rice, beans, and grains, yet keep only a single container of salt in the kitchen. As long as the stores are open, that's not much of a concern. But if you have to live on basic staple foods for weeks, meals that are too bland and repetitive can quickly make people lose their appetite, especially some older adults. Salt isn't a meal, but it is a food multiplier, a simple ingredient that increases the value of almost every food in your pantry. Just a small amount can make rice, beans, oatmeal, or a simple broth much easier to eat day after day. During a prolonged crisis, that helps a family make full use of its food supply instead of wasting it because everyone has grown tired of eating it. Sodium is also essential for proper nerve function, muscle function, and fluid balance. But your body only needs the right amount. People with high blood pressure, heart disease, or kidney disease should continue following their doctor's advice and should not increase their salt intake or use salt tablets on their own. Another important value of salt is its role in food preservation. When used properly, salt helps limit the growth of certain microorganisms and serves as the foundation for many traditional methods of curing, fermenting, and drying food. However, simply covering meat with salt does not make it safe. Proper preservation methods must still be followed. Salt is also one of the easiest supplies to store. Just keep it dry, sealed, and divide it into smaller portions, so you don't lose your entire supply if one package becomes damaged. Gold may preserve wealth in times of peace, but it won't make a pot of beans easier to eat, help you make the most of the rice you've stored, or provide the foundation for preserving food. When the value of an item is measured by how many meals it helps you sustain, an ordinary bag of salt can be more useful than any piece of jewelry locked away in a safe. 5. Rechargeable AA/AAA batteries with a solar charger. By the 5th night after the power goes out, the flashlight in your home begins to grow dim before finally going dark. You open the drawer, only to realize your last pack of backup batteries is gone. At that point, the problem is no longer the flashlight. It's that you no longer have any way to generate new power. That's the difference between passive stockpiling and energy independence. Disposable batteries provide only a limited number of hours of use. Rechargeable AA or AAA batteries paired with a solar charger, on the other hand, allow you to generate electricity day after day without depending on stores or outside supply chains. The key to this strategy is standardization. By using the same AA or AAA battery size for most of the devices in your home, you can rotate power among many common survival essentials. For older adults, reliable light from a flashlight or headlamp at night can help reduce the risk of dangerous falls. At the same time, a battery-powered weather radio can continue providing dependable updates when both cellular service and the internet are completely unavailable. The greatest value of this system isn't the batteries themselves. It's the ability to continuously renew your power supply. As long as the sun comes up each day, every sunrise gives you another charging cycle for your essential devices. To stay safe, choose high-quality NIMH rechargeable batteries and use a solar charger that's designed to work with them. Avoid improvised setups, using the wrong battery sizes, or trying to make batteries fit with aluminum foil, since doing so can easily cause short circuits, excessive heat, and damage to your equipment. Someone who only stockpiles disposable batteries really owns nothing more than a few borrowed hours of light. But someone with a solar rechargeable battery system owns the ability to create light and access information day after day. 4. Emergency first aid kit. While you're rushing to clear fallen trees after a storm, a rusty nail or a piece of metal slices into your forearm. The bleeding isn't heavy, so your first instinct is to think, "I'll take care of it later." In normal times, the clinic is still open, and help is just a phone call away. But during a crisis, tomorrow may bring no one to deal with the consequences of putting it off today. That's the value of the golden minutes. Your first opportunity to control an injury before it becomes something much more serious. A first aid kit won't turn you into a doctor, and it isn't meant for complicated medical procedures. It helps you stay calm and accomplish the 3 most basic tasks. Control the bleeding. Use clean gauze or a pressure bandage to apply steady pressure to the wound. If a large object is embedded in the injury, do not try to remove it or apply direct pressure on top of it. Clean the wound. Once the bleeding is under control, use clean water or sterile saline to rinse away dirt and debris from minor wounds. Don't dig into the wound to remove anything you can't easily take out. Cover and monitor. Use sterile gauze and medical tape to keep the injured area clean and protected. Disposable gloves help reduce exposure to blood while caring for someone else. The domino effect of a disaster often begins quietly. If the person responsible for fetching water, cooking meals, or caring for loved ones is no longer able to do those jobs because a wound has become more serious, the entire family is affected. A first aid kit doesn't just protect injured skin, it helps keep the whole family functioning. Keep your first aid kit in a dry, easy-to-reach place. Check the supplies and expiration dates regularly, and include a printed first aid guide. Everyone in the household should also know exactly where the kit is. For deep puncture wounds, dirty wounds, uncontrolled bleeding, embedded objects, or signs such as increasing redness, worsening pain, drainage, or fever, seek medical care as soon as possible. Your tetanus vaccination status should also be reviewed after certain types of injuries. You don't need a mobile emergency room. You need basic supplies, the right knowledge, and a calm mindset during those first critical minutes. So a small accident today doesn't take away your ability to protect your family tomorrow. 3. Disposable lighter. The temperature outside is dropping close to freezing. You have dry firewood, candles, a camp stove, water, and plenty of canned food. Every essential resource is right in front of you. Yet most of its value remains locked away if you can't create that first flame. That's why a disposable lighter is more than just a kitchen tool. It's a master key, a small tool that can unlock the heat and light you've already prepared. Waterproof matches and ferro rods are still valuable backup options. But for most adults, a lighter is faster and much more familiar. A good quality model can provide countless short ignitions without electricity or complicated techniques. Anyone with arthritis or limited hand strength should practice using their chosen model beforehand to make sure they can operate it safely. A flame allows you to boil water according to safe guidelines, heat food, and provide light when needed. But its greatest hidden value is psychological. After days of living in darkness and cold, a hot meal and a little warm light can ease anxiety and help restore a sense of normal life for the entire family. Spread out your supply instead of keeping everything in one place. Keep a few in the kitchen and several more in your emergency kit, stored inside a sealed container or bag in a cool, dry place. Never leave them inside a hot vehicle, near a heat source, in loose clothing pockets, or anywhere children can reach them. Never create an open flame if you suspect there is a gas or fuel leak. A disposable lighter doesn't store much energy. It simply holds the ability to produce a small spark. But that single spark can unlock warmth, a hot meal, and the light that helps your family make it through the longest nights. 2. Water purification tablets, or a personal water filter. After a storm, you find a source of crystal clear water. There's no strange smell and no visible mud or debris. But clear water only tells you that there aren't any visible contaminants. It doesn't guarantee that the water is free of bacteria or parasites. People can survive for weeks without food, but they can't last long without water. Even so, finding water only solves half the problem. The real value lies in your ability to turn that water into a safe supply. A personal water filter and water purification tablets serve two different purposes. Personal water filter removes bacteria, parasites, and sediment, but typically does not remove extremely small viruses. Water purification tablets effectively kill bacteria and viruses, but their effectiveness against certain hard-shelled parasites depends on the required contact time. That's why, when dealing with a high-risk water source, the best strategy is to use 2 layers of protection. Filter out the sediment first, then disinfect the water with chemicals or by boiling it. Always follow the dosage and waiting time listed on the product label. Bringing water to a rolling boil for 1 minute remains one of the most effective ways to kill disease-causing organisms if you have enough fuel. However, keep in mind that no method will make water safe if it has been contaminated with gasoline, oil, or toxic chemicals. If you're using a hollow fiber water filter, the most important storage rule is never to let it freeze after it has been used. Any water trapped inside can expand when frozen, tearing the filter fibers in ways that aren't visible to the naked eye. In a crisis, the person who finds water has only found an opportunity. The person who knows how to filter it, disinfect it, and understand the limits of each tool is the one who truly holds a safe source of life for their family. 1. Durable water storage container with a spigot. And the item that takes the #1 spot, the one that outranks even a water filter, a lighter, and a first aid kit, is a durable water storage container with a spigot. It may sound simple, but this is what determines whether your clean water will actually still be there tomorrow. Think about it. After spending hours standing in line, you finally get clean water or filter water from a nearby stream. But if you don't have the right container, how are you going to bring that water home? And how will you keep it clean when your entire family has to use it day after day? One person needs at least about 1 gallon or 3.8 liters of water every day for drinking, cooking, and essential hygiene. A family of 4 would need more than 100 liters of water for 7 days. At that point, you're no longer talking about a few small bottles of water. You're talking about an entire storage and distribution system. A dedicated water container solves 3 critical problems. It stores treated water in a sealed environment, reducing the risk of recontamination. A sturdy handle makes it easier to transport water. Most importantly, the spigot lets you dispense exactly the amount of water you need for drinking, cooking, or hygiene without constantly opening the lid, helping reduce waste and keep your water clean for much longer. Choose a container that's specifically designed for drinking water, has a tight sealing lid, and is stored in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight. If you're storing tap water yourself, write down the storage date and replace it periodically according to public health recommendations. A water filter helps you produce clean water, but this container is what helps you keep that water safe from the very first day until the crisis is over. When the water stops flowing from the tap, the most valuable thing isn't just the water itself. It's your ability to control every single drop you have. The 12 items we covered today weren't chosen because they're expensive or high-tech. They were chosen because they help you stay in control when life changes without warning. Being prepared isn't about living in fear. It's about reducing the hardships that could come your way and protecting yourself and your family. You don't have to buy everything at once. Just start with a few essentials and build a supply that fits your own situation. The most important thing isn't how much you own. It's whether you prepared before the crisis happens. If you found this video helpful, please share it with your loved ones, especially the older adults in your family. And let me know in the comments, out of these 12 items, how many have you already prepared? Thanks for watching. Wishing you and your family safety and peace. I'll see you in the next video.